bright as hell. Let's see if that helps any. That's a little better. Anyway, good evening, everyone. Live, all right. There we go. Okay. Notice where we are. It's been a few weeks since we've been here, but here we are. I'm not going to be working on the dendrobium, but I am going to be working on the stamen. And while we're at it, we're going to be talking about all sorts of fun shit. All sorts of fun shit. Because, you know, there's all sorts of fun shit out there. Hey, Nick, what's going on, brother? What is going on? I think I just need the manual. What the fuck the manual is. Anyway. Hey, Joe. Good evening. By the way, at some point, these will likely end up getting used. The ones that just fell out. I didn't realize the bottom was... oh, wow, it's opened up. Anyway. I mean, just to give you a heads up on how big this fucking model is going to be. I mean, it's not small. Hey, Dwayne, good evening. Just setting up the new scope. What's the new scope? Those would be fun. All right, let's see if I find the manual, which I'm hoping is around here somewhere. Otherwise, I'm not going to be building much of a model at all. You building a fridge? Yeah, dendrobium. I've got the, there it is. There we go. Yeah. Is this the Fame Theater? It is. Up until recently, well, actually it hasn't, it's been a while. Rifle scope. Just setting up the new rifle scope. Nice. Good for you. What's it going on, Nick? I just want to this is kind of like, so people who don't know me, you know, for a guy who's a pretty left-leaning kind of dude, I'm going to turn it just a little bit this way. There we go. I'm not opposed to, guns or anything like that. Do I think we need more sensible gun laws? Hell yes. Hell yes. But am I anti-gun? No. I just want us to, like anything in life, right? It's all about some level of sensibility. Yeah, it's just some level of sensibility. It's if something goes extreme, we've done that with everything. Hey, we put in laws regarding the use of liquor and marijuana. Why? Because we want to kind of curtail how, if everything becomes too rampant, then it becomes chaos, right? A Remington 700 and 308. Ooh, I shot a 308 probably well before you were born. I shot a 308. No idiots with arsenals who beat their wives, just some common sense. That's exactly the point. It's like, look at this and just say, but what you have is you've got extremists who make the ownership of guns just be stupid, which I think is wrong. Charles, what's going on, brother? Nothing crazy out of the way. Exactly. Common sense, sensibility. Anyway. All right, so let's start with my first rant. Can somebody please explain to me how it is that the term. I grew up with this term. Well, they're an old, reliable caliber. Yeah, dude, I remember firing my first 308. I was in Boy Scouts at the time because at that point I was just used to using 22s, and holy shit, that was a wake up call. Then again, I'd also been pretty good with 12 gauge too. Evening, Richie. What's going on, brother? How are you? How's your evening going? Oh, same shit, different story. Life's a bitch. Yeah, but Charles, things are hopefully going well. Man, I used to fill the freezer. Right. Guten Tag. Hey, how's it going, gang? Hey, Jonah, how are you? Yeah, and that's what I'm getting at. I know that the hunting thing is also an interesting thing. I'm not opposed to hunting either, as long as you take the animal and you do something positive with the animal. It's like the old Indian philosophy, right? Put this down just a little bit. There we go. By the way, innovator die. This shirt's probably older than most people here too. Nope. Nothing positive? Hold it, Charles. Nothing good this week with the training and all that other good stuff? Come on. It's got to be something. And today they were hoping I'd be only a small partner to help when the other guy wanted off. Oh. So does that mean that is DED dead? Made smash burgers tonight with one of those animals. Yeah, see, that's cool. Again, if one takes advantage of what the land gives us, great. Great. I'm relaxing watching you on the 70-inch TV. Yeah. Woohoo! I do that with Mike Wine. I put him on my TV upstairs all the time. I love watching him that way. Anyway, all right. So here's where we go. Ready for this, guys? What the fuck is up with gerrymandering? I don't understand this. I grew up with, you heard the word gerrymandering, it was a negative. And now the amount of acceptability of gerrymandering is bullshit, to the point where the Democrats are now thinking of weaponizing it because the Republicans have weaponized it so much. This to me is absolute insanity. Absolute insanity. Possible to salvage something and jump on the recovery agent side and just go catch people jumping bail. Hey, Charles, if it's something that brings you greater joy, go for it. If it's something that could become something more enjoyable, great. Life is too short, brother. But I again, this past week, first of all, I'm not opposed to the Democrats, especially those in California, saying, well, if Texas is going to do it, we're going to do it too, because it's becoming so weaponized. But who knows? Only time will tell. Yes and no. Don't let time slide too far, though, brother. You don't want to wait too long. So anyway, just I guess I'm more than a little shocked when they have no choice until there's a better regulation or system in place. Playing fair is killing Dems, especially in. Yeah, I want to just change one thing you just said there, Dwayne. They're sitting on House seats. Yeah, this isn't about Democrats. This is, I don't care which side does it, though it is being completely weaponized by the Republican Party. That the majority of gerrymandering right now, if you take a look at the 10 worst states for gerrymandering, only one is a democratically managed state. That's Maryland. All the rest of them are Republican states. So, what I'm challenging you on is this isn't a Democrat and Republican thing. This is a right and wrong thing. In my personal opinion, if you have to carve out crazy shapes into your state in order to select your voters, that to me goes against everything, every bit of common sense. And it goes against, listen, I don't care if it goes against the Constitution. It goes against a fundamental correctness of how a society can run. Time can go fornicate itself as far as I'm concerned. I added up my time. I was working the hospital side plus babysitter fees. I'm almost $2,000. Jesus Christ. Holy shit, Charles. Really? Added my time if I was working in the hospital side plus babysitter fees. I'm almost out. Jeez. No shit. So, boy, Charles, I'll use the word. So they fucked you. I'm sorry here. Screw it. I'm running for president. I'm making my own political career. Fuck around and find out. Richie, I'd vote for that party. In fact, you got a guy like that running in New York City. I'm excited to see that. It's the same people who zone those areas to create clusters of voters. Yeah, this is the thing I don't understand. I don't really care which side does it. Hi, Zoe.
You're parked behind me. Can I take your car?
You could absolutely take my car. I'm not going anywhere. Bye, Zoe. Broken arm. Still going to the skating rink to practice her derby. Not practice on the court, but because that's the kind of person she is. Because she is a team player. Cat better not be coming down.
She did. She snuck right by me.
Excuse me, guys. Let me get rid of a cat. Hey. Ugh. Nasty cat. I love you so. It's always something here at the household. I know. I laugh at that too. Let's see. Was on the air. Yeah, Richie is in Little Caesars, but he is. Bring the cat back. No, the cat's not coming back. The cat will destroy shit. That one in particular will destroy shit. Hey, Ken, what's going on, brother? Anyway, the point I'm trying to make about all this is when you do that kind of gerrymandering, and again, I don't know what kind of history you guys have with gerrymandering. I studied it in elementary school, high school, whatever, and it was always gerrymandering's bad. We try to move away from gerrymandering and to create fair systems for how people vote. But when you've got a president telling a governor, change your borders to start eliminating seats, and they're like, yes, sir, that's a problem. We want the cat. Cat back. Maybe at the very end. Maybe not. So that ruins everything. Has a special on it. On what? On it was so fluffy. Oh, that's Percy. She's definitely the fluffy one of the bunch. All our cats are great. They're just very destructive. Very destructive. Down here, speakers, other stuff down. No, they're not going to be doing. That's the reason why they don't come down here. Gerrymandering. Oh, really? Adams ruins it. Yeah, I hear the latest episode of South Park is also supposed to be a little scathing towards the current regime. But that aside, the point of all of this is that, and I wish if the people speak, and maybe I'm going to bring this back a little bit. I mean, the goal is consolidation of power and the end of democracy. Yes, that's exactly the goal. First of all, Dwayne has it right. There is an attempt by the MAGA Republicans. This predates MAGA, by the way. It's just that it's now gotten to the point where it's here. This goes back to the 70s post Nixon, where there has been a clarion call to bring that consolidation of power. White Christian nationalists, Republicans came together and are like, we are trying to consolidate power because there's a perception that any left-leaning causes are fundamentally wrong for our country and against values. Since Reagan, correct. Actually, it predated Reagan too. Consolidation power. Oh my God, South Park has Trump the Saddam Hussein. Really? Wow, that's funny. Actually, I might have to catch that. But you've got a group of people who are willing to sacrifice the Constitution because their view is it's more important to save a country and the certain people within the country than it is to save the country for everyone and the laws that have been created by it. They are absolutely undermining. And again, this isn't a conspiracy theory. This is historically how things have gone. I've used this example before as an example. Prior to Roe v. Wade, Southern Baptist congregation was actually very much in favor of abortion rights. But you had a small minority that needed to use a cause to have a grounding cause. Catholics were anti-abortion. this small group latched onto that and made it a social touch point that the right and the Republican Party grabbed onto and have then springboarded into other social issues. It has all become a matter of a power grab. We need power. Okay. Do I think that Democrats play that game? To a much smaller degree. And I'm going to tell you why. Democrats aren't smart enough or, um, I hate to put it this way, maybe mean spirited enough to be able to do that. They're dummies. And they're getting their asses handed to them because of these rules and laws. Southwood redlining homes. Yeah, it's the return of robber barons. Babies can't speak for themselves. It's perfect to rally around. Exactly. Wouldn't this the fall of the Industrial Revolution? Wouldn't this be? Could be. Dems aren't well messaged enough. No, Democrats have fucked themselves because they've lost labor because they start saddling up to all these big tech guys who are all big into the social issues and couldn't give a shit about, oh, hold it. We're big into social and we want to give people these great places where they can kind of go and relax and have lunch, and we'll cater lunch and we'll do all these cool things. Whoa, whoa, whoa. You want more money? You want more rights? You want to have workers' rights? Ah, fuck you. They started becoming anti-work places. Anyway, but in terms of power grabbing right now, it is absolutely becoming a very dangerous place. I don't care which side of the political spectrum you fall on, but if anybody thinks that gerrymandering is a good thing, I think you're on the wrong side of what is right and good for this country, and certainly constitutionally wrong. I didn't get a slice of the pie. Yeah, it's why they're mostly over 65. Oh, I don't know about that. Take a look at. There's a lot of people in the very young who are in that same category. They bought into this whole thing too. You know, and I'm not looking to vilify anybody here who's a Republican or into MAGA or whatever. All I'm suggesting is that there is an anti-democratic leaning and small d democratic, right, leaning in the way things are going politically. And you need to start observing it, because the unfortunate part is if the Democrats decide to fight as nastily as the Republicans have, not only is it going to be a bloodbath, but it's going to start with this gerrymandering thing where California says, great, let's gerrymander the fuck out of these areas so that only Democrats are now in the state legislatures and in Congress. And you're going to get all these hands getting thrown up in the, oh, they can't do that. Well, yeah, they can, because you're showing the roadmap on how to do it, you know? And then what happens if, no, I'm not even going to go down that path. It's wrong. Does anybody in there, I mean, just maybe I'm off base here. A show of hands. Does anybody think that gerrymandering is good for us? Anybody? Other states gerrymandering? Are other states gerrymandering? Yes. Ohio, Republican. Pennsylvania, Republican. Wisconsin. What's the other one? I actually just did look, by the way, guys, when I read something, I try to do some research on it. It's like, okay, so how bad is this? Yeah, Georgia's another big one. In my social studies class, they said it was bad. That's because they were right. It is bad. So yeah, Georgia and Michigan are the other two. Virginia, North Carolina is working really hard at it. Virginia isn't quite there yet. And again, if you take a look at them, they're all led by Republican legislatures, because now they're in a place where, and those are the states where the local districting, the redistricting of a state is all done by whatever political party is in charge, whatever party is leading the state legislature. Whereas in California, New York, Massachusetts, it's not done that way. It is done by a bipartisan committee. But now, and that's the point, certain states play by certain rules. And what's happening now is now they're getting their lunch handed to them. So once again, now we're kind of put into a really terrible place. Okay, I've heard of this. Of course, they will crooks all of them. I'll have to show you my district map. Oh, I've actually the one that I was interested in. I remember about 8, 9 years ago looking at the district map change in Pennsylvania. I'm like, oh, you're adding hundreds, if not thousands, of miles of borders in order to carve out the areas that you want to have these districts. It's wrong. And I don't care again, I don't care which side does it. It's wrong on either side. The only difference is only Maryland, led by Democrats, is the one that's doing that right now, and on the big D Democratic side. Okay, so again, I'm not seeing any hands here. I'm assuming everyone here thinks that gerrymandering, whether it's done on either side, is wrong. But if you're in a state, and I know we got people here in certain states that are in that camp. If you're in that state and you're thinking, well, this is a good thing, we get to get more of our types in, it's like you are creating a massive problem. Because if California and New York decide to flip those switches, you're going to see another shift the wrong way. And now, like I said, it becomes a bloodbath. Now, we have not experienced it here in any major way. Gerrymandering is a total bummer. I think one could say bummer. I would probably think it's a magnitude or two worse than that, but okay. So here's what I think that we have not experienced in this country. Again, guys, and I apologize if I sound like an old fuck. I am an old fuck, okay? Growing up, it always was, look at those silly countries in South America that you got two political sides and they're having wars and they got guns and they're killing each other. It's like, oh, those crazy countries elsewhere, or over in, some parts of Southeast Asia. We didn't experience that. But ever so slowly, we're moving in that direction to the point where, and we're hearing the rhetoric of violence that at some point, oh, you're a big D Democrat, you're a Republican. Oh, well, time to arm up. It's like, are you kidding me? We are going to be put into a place, I'm hoping it doesn't happen, but if we get to that place where fuck all that's not the way we want the power, we're going to create a situation where it's going to get bloody. Never agree with it. I go for the low-hanging fruit. Nice. Who helped do that to those South American countries? Oh, I actually the one that's funny, not funny, Iran. The United States. If the United States didn't do in Iran what it did back in the 50s, was setting up the Shah. Oh my God. This world would be in a totally different place. But go imperialism. Ran amok. Yeah, I ran amok. Oh my God, it's just amazing, amazing. Anyway, so here's where I want to kind of like bring it back a little bit. I don't advocate, guys. I don't advocate violence. I don't want violence. I shouldn't say I don't believe in it. I don't want violence in my life. I know most of you people for a long time, a lot of the regulars who are here, and with a few exceptions, I know you guys have kids. You're not going to be the ones who are going to have to deal with this pain. My daughter, who you just saw, that's Zoe. That's my older daughter. This is a person I'm turning this world over to. I was part of this, and I'm going to turn this over and have her try to deal with the situation. Just like the people who are older than me did the same fucking thing to us. Okay? At some point, this has to stop because our children are now moving into a place where they're going to potentially be on the front lines, kind of like in the 1860s. And honest to God, guys, I don't want that. I wouldn't wish that upon anybody, and certainly not anybody's children. You know, I really don't want us to get to the point where we have to all arm up because we just don't know what kind of insanity is going to come from whom. You know, you're living across the street from somebody who's a hardcore Democrat and you're a hardcore Republican. Oh, you know what? That bad. Yeah, better go get my gun. You know, better go get my protection somehow. That makes me nervous. You know, and I I genuinely believe gerrymandering and unified executive theory are two pillars of not great. Yeah, couldn't agree more. I generally believe, genuinely, not generally, genuinely believe. Oh, I'm sure we will. You're sure we will what? Go to war amongst each other? I hope not. But I do think that the person who's currently in charge of this regime and the people directly working underneath him are fostering a level of hatred and dehumanization that is creating such tension. When you have a nickname, a nasty nickname for everybody you don't like, you know, and you weaponize that, that shows that, well, if he can do it, why can't I? Right. And that's very problematic. And when you have somebody who has this view that if you are against him, you are an enemy of the state, not just an enemy of him, enemy of the state. When you have that kind of mentality, you start getting into places like what we had down in South America. And it's not a good place to be, my friends. Also, the counter to this is better local communities outreach. Did you mean Stephen Miller? I'm going to just, you know what? Stephen Miller, and I don't say this about many, but he's the Antichrist. He is absolutely the Antichrist. Maybe not a war, but probably reach for guns quicker than we already do as a country. Oh, 100%. Yeah. And at some point, Ken, we're going to cross a threshold because I think as we've seen over these last, this last decade, we're starting to creep closer and closer to where violence is the answer. And it starts small, and then suddenly you're looking around. It's like, oh my God, how bad could this have gotten? And it's bad. Dude, he's my age. War, but probably, yeah. He's my age. He looks like he's older than you. Evil, shitty people age quickly. Yeah, I don't know if he looks older than me. I don't think he does. I think when I look at him, I don't say this lightly, but when I look at him, not just hear the words that he says, which are just vile, but when I look at him and his demeanor, he reminds me of Mussolini. He has that kind of like down his nose kind of look. If you've ever seen film footage of Mussolini, he has that appearance. Stephen Miller is an outright fascist. He is an outright fascist. Dead eyes, like a doll's eyes. Yeah. Yeah. He is. There's no soul in that man. There is no soul in that man. And again, his boss, I don't even see that. I don't even think he's that bad. Stephen Miller is a dead man walking. He is absolutely, there is nothing in him except for just rage and hatred. Rage and hatred. I have yet to put a part together. Let's see if I can put a couple parts together. Okay, we got the legs done. Real quickly. We got the legs done on the stand. Ugh, I get to do the same shitty stuff. Ugh, I hate this stuff. I'm not a big fan of this model, by the way. Just gonna say, I'm not a big fan. Sand something. I will. I'm gonna pull out a couple pieces here. I'm gonna start sanding something. Okay. And I'm doing this for Nick. Because as I've always promised, I'm I don't want to just sit here and blither about politics. I actually want to build a model while we're doing it. All right, so we've got, oops, nope, it's under, not C, it's under E. D, C, C, E right on top. So this is the GPO3 Stamen, which is the Gundam that fits inside of the Dendrobium. Do it for Nick. Exactly. Do it for Nick. I don't know. The Joker's a pretty cool song. He can't be that bad. The Joker's a pretty cool song. Well, yes, maybe, but Stephen Miller isn't. Did you get to check out my whips, by the way? Wayne, I do apologize. Today just got by, but the good thing is after I'm done with this, no one's home. So I'll be able to sit down and actually do some stuff for myself. So I will definitely check that out. E22 and 23. So I do apologize, but as people know, this is kind of how I roll. Slow as cold dirt and getting back to stuff like that. Oh, good. I wouldn't go that far. It sands the part. We got the hose again. Exactly. Anyway. One of the just so you guys know, one topic I don't want to discuss. I just don't want to discuss the Epstein thing. Just so you guys know, my feeling on just real briefly, my feeling on it is, look, the optics on it are just so bad. I just hope the truth comes out. I genuinely hope the truth comes out because there's a lot of evil that was laid down there, and like I said, we're gonna leave it there. We're gonna leave that there. There's so much other bad shit going on that to me is becoming such a distraction. In the same way as let's change the Washington Commanders name back to what it was before, or change the 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, or change the Cleveland team back. It's like these are distractions. And they're all distractions because, so hold it before I start this path. Just to show Nick, I can sand something. I'm sanding it right now. I'm filing. Okay, close enough. Sanding, filing, it's all the same thing. Let's just get this administration up, period. Well, that's kind of the end goal. Unfortunately, as I've been listening to something today, it's like I'm kind of scared of what might be on the back end of that. But yes, I would not disagree with you on that one, Joe. Actually, the Epstein thing has been a boon. Nothing is getting done. Trump can't get away from it. The House can't pass anything else. Yeah, but can't pass anything awful, but they're not even doing anything, And in fact, they've allowed themselves to be in that position, Dwayne. I would actually flip that around. Fuck them for deciding that they want to kowtow so much to one person and they're taking his lead 100% that, well, we can't do anything now. Guys, there's so much for you to do, good, bad, indifferent. But you've decided that, you know what, you're going to basically follow whatever script you're presented. And if you have no script, well, nothing's going to get done. Yeah. Mike Johnson's responsible for that. 100%. Oh, I'm not disagreeing with you. The buck stops with that motherfucker, without a doubt. Let's see. I just saw a subcommittee vote on release. Yes. Yeah, one of the committees just said, and again, my hope is that we're starting to turn a corner where we're not so polarized, Democrats, Republicans, completely separated. There has to be places where things are starting to cross over, and I believe that may be one of the first places. I hope so. I genuinely hope so. Not the whole chamber. No, it's not the whole chamber. It doesn't have to be the whole chamber. I don't believe it has to be the whole chamber, which is good. But You know, the thing about all of this is that it is it is creating. You know, I'm not saying that. Look, I'm a Bernie Sanders kind of guy. Me too, because both sides are effed up. Both sides are, Mike, without a doubt. But there's also one that's a little bit more. I'm not saying that they're that one's. I'm not saying one's right and the other one's wrong. I'm saying one's fucked and the other one's twice as fucked. And I know you and I might look at it. First of all, hey Mike, how are you, brother? Good to see you. Uh, here's the thing about all of this that really is so disheartening is that it is creating such such a level of destruction that and the way I see it, guys, is the destruction that's being caused. We're not even going to know ultimately what this means for a while, what it means to our reputation as a community internationally, what it means for us um, as an internal community. Are we going to be able to trust our neighbors again at some point? Are we going to be able to trust anybody who comes into our neighborhood? Anybody when we go somewhere? Are we going to be able to trust other people? Are we going to be able to trust that I'm going to be able to get through something safely? And I hope at some point we're going to be able to do that. But I hate to put it this way, and I've said this. I hope I'm wrong, and I hope somebody comes up and says you are so wrong. I'll thank you for it. It's like thank God I'm wrong, but I feel very strongly that we are creating such divisiveness and hatred and animosity towards the other that I'm not sure how we're going to be able to anytime soon pull back from it. And what that means is one, internally, I'm not sure how we're going to survive it. And externally, our enemies are the enemy. And I shouldn't say I hate putting it that way. People who don't like the success that this country has had for the last 250 years, countries that are autocratic, anti-democratic, hate that we have been the success that we have been, are going to look at us and say, you know what, we're working towards your failure. And I genuinely believe the guy in power right now does not see that. Does not see that. Sorry, guys. Got to run. Love you all. Have a great one. Spaces. Joe, you too, brother. Sorry I might have missed you, but hey, have a great evening. Always good to have Joe on. I think something I've heard my daughter mention. My daughter takes care of a lot of young kids, and there's a lot more that these kids are starting to say about the about other people who are different, and it's like wow, what's being discussed at home that kind of um, disgustingness is being brought out, right? I know South Park making an AI Trump whip. This was a watershed moment. Hope it's a King has no clothes moment. I'll have to watch the episode. Generally I'm not a big South Park kind of guy. I don't. It's just never been my cup of tea. But so I'm just making sure I got these parts put together right because I have a tendency to not. There's one. I'll send you the clip. Okay. Guys, just so you know, it's like as much as I like watching and reading up upon interesting political stuff, it's I'm not a big fan of glamorizing hatred. It's frankly all I want to do is just no. Sometimes it's good to laugh at a problem rather than deal. Laughter can sometimes be the best medicine for stuff like this. But at the same time, it's just there are times where it just feels like it's just too close. They don't hold back. Wow. Yeah. Interesting. There's supposed to be two of these runners? Am I supposed to have two E runners? I hope not, because I'm only seeing one. Oh, I see how they're doing it. Okay, got it. Got it. You got to laugh. Oh, you do. But at the same time, I just kind of want to move into it. Right now, it's funny. There are days when it's like all I want to do is laugh at all this shit, and other days when it's just like I just need this stuff to stop. It was actually about 3 weeks ago, I think, that happened at one point. It just like it felt there felt like there was so much anger and hatred that it's like, oh God, I just or just insanity, just the stuff that's coming out from how we're treating migrants through the use of certain language by our politicians, and it just felt like is this just it's just the weight of it all just felt so heavy, and it felt like comedy can't get you through that, but maybe Dwayne's right. Maybe that is kind of what we need to use sometimes to get through it. You got to have a laugh every now and then. And generally, I kind of do try to put a laughing spin on stuff, but there's some of this stuff, yeah, you need you need to unplug. Yeah. The funny part about it is though, Ken, it it I guess it doesn't bother me hearing it. I guess what bothers me, you're going to hear something at some point, right? I guess what bothers me is not how it's presented to me, because, and I'm not trying to put myself on any kind of pedestal. Like I said, I have a tendency to, if I hear something, I'll research it. Okay, is this true? When you hear all this gerrymandering, okay, how much gerrymandering is really going on? Like I started at the beginning, I actually read a few things, including research papers, not in depth, but just to see, okay, what's going on with that, including stuff from at the at the collegiate level. When you hear like studies done at Princeton, so I tend to look into this stuff, and it helps. For me, it's okay to read about it. It's just, I think what it is I'm at the point where I guess I'm confounded. It's like, is this really happening? That's what I think why you can't unplug that, because that's just so prevalent. I mean, isn't this live stream about having a community to share this with? Yeah, in some ways it is. And again, I've said this as well. I'm not looking to. I know that there are people here. I'm not going to change your minds or your opinions. I just hope that in some ways, maybe you're right, Dwayne, that what this ultimately does is it allows us to be able to vocalize some stuff, and people understand kind of like how I'm feeling with this. And at the end of the day, we can set it aside, have a beer or three, and still enjoy each other's company. It's kind of the end goal, you know. But I don't think that my opinions are going to change, just like I don't think I'm going to change other people's opinions. I take it back. My opinions have changed. There's a lot of stuff, especially with my daughter, my older daughter, in the women and gender studies stuff that she's gone through with me. It's like, well, that's fascinating. She's taught me a lot. So yeah, I guess you can teach an old dog new tricks. I don't do this because I want to change opinions. To be able to help process these overwhelming things you confront. Yeah. And in some ways, that's exactly what it is. And trust me, this is why I watch a lot of this stuff. It's because I want to process it. I'm at that, I think, like maybe like one of the first shows I did here. It's the reason why, and I've told my wife this too. The reason why I watch a lot of this stuff and I'm interested in a lot of this stuff is because I want to understand. Like, am I missing something? When I hear about, you know, the MAGA movement and the decisions they're making, my first thought is, am I just not understanding the reason why this is going? And my own personal history, I'm sure colors a lot of that. I'm a very pro labor kind of guy. I'm a middle class, working class kind of guy. You know, I once tried to get into, trying to like got into the um, uh, I was introduced to the finer things in life, and I understand them and respect them, and there are some things I like, but my wife pulled me back from that years ago. She's like, "Why are you so interested in that? What is how does that make you a better person if you're into this really expensive shit, whatever it was at the time that I was into?" And it got me to thinking. She's like, "Yeah, she's kind of right. It's not really helping my life. My roots have all," and I came back to my roots, which is all I want to do is just enjoy life, hang with friends. I like that I'm building models. I'm doing something creative again. Um, I don't need the fancy schmancy stuff. I don't need to have like a second, third, 10th home. I don't need to have the most expensive of anything. I don't need that stuff. I don't need the anchor of having a lot of the stuff that kind of was I was into as a kid, right? Good luck with understanding it all. I know, but isn't that kind of like what life is all about, though, Ken? It's kind of funny as like I said, as I'm getting to the end of my life, I'm trying to understand what is the point of all this. you know, Maybe that's it. It's like, what is the point of all this shit? Why do we hate each other so much? Or why is it that I like a certain thing? Or why is it that these groups of people have all these tensions? Or how is it that we can? What is it with all this stuff? And I've said, I guess I told my wife, it's like I guess I'm looking for that unifying theory behind everything. And you can't do that when you've got like what almost 8 billion people and 8 billion different attitudes and 8 billion different loves and hates of all sorts of stuff, right? But I guess I am looking for how is it that two people can, like, as an example, look at the same thing and say, that's black, that's white. That's the thing, I guess, that's kind of surprising to me. And when I say it's black and they say it's white, my first reaction isn't you're wrong. My first reaction is, am I missing something? You know, and I process it and I try to get to it. It's like maybe I'm wrong about this, and I try to figure it out. And at some point, I think what I found is with a lot of the opinions that I've formed, it's like these opinions aren't just snap formed, and it's not just turning it back into politics. This isn't the Democrats turning me into some ultra lefty. I didn't get there because I had Democratic policy beaten down my throat. I grew up in many ways when I was young in a Republican family, but I've kind of gotten to this point based on looking around the world that I've lived in, and it's like this doesn't make a lot of sense, you know. I'm not arguing acceptance can be a freeing emotion, not accepting the wrongs, but accepting there's always will be wrong. Oh yeah. And in fact, I think that's the hard thing is like, you're right, Ken. I think it's like there will be bad. There is evil in the world. And you can't understand the evil. You cannot comprehend that. It's like I think I'm sure for a lot of people who survived, the Nazi regime and that survived the death camps. I'm sure for some of them it was like, how did this come about? How could this have come about, right? And at some point, I guess some people never got through it, and other people like, I'm not going to understand it, and I have to get through it. I have to get through the rest of my life. You know. Now, and I'm not trying to equate what's going on here with that yet, though it does seem with Alligator Alcatraz, we're certainly moving in that direction. How many more of those fucking places are we going to start setting up? But I do think, Ken, you got a valid point. We're not going to get answers to everything. But my brain is always one of those that's trying to figure out why is that. I've always been that way. I've always been a person who wants to understand. You can't hate something or not like something or think something is wrong if you don't understand it. I do try to accept and enjoy this crazy ride, the crazy movie of life. Yeah, dang it. Dang it. Dang what, Ray? Dang it. Yeah. No, they try to accept and enjoy the crazy ride. Yeah. And that's part of it. And but part of it is, in order to enjoy the crazy ride, there has to be at least, I mean, when I think about a crazy ride, I'm thinking at least there's some good in it. I like to think there's more good than bad in it. I hope I'm right. All right, let's get a couple more parts here. C18. C18. So times it. Okay. Got about another 5-10 minutes left. And we'll call it a session. So, I want to understand. We missed 98%. At least we got wings. We missed 98%, but at least we got wings. But at least you got wings. I do want to understand what's going on with a lot of this, what's going on in the world. It's like, because I'm hoping that, in the end, I'm hoping that maybe I can answer some questions for myself and just say, okay, I feel good about at least where I went, you know? Meanwhile, some chickens somewhere can't fly. Way to go, Ray. Exactly. Bastard. By the way, speaking of flying, for anybody who's into the Tour de France, today was like the stage. 3 beyond category climbs. Wow. Wow. Tell you. Ben O'Connor, Team Jayco. He is Australian, I believe. Fucking flying. I mean, when you're flying up things like this for like, what, 15, 16 kilometers? Oh, God, it's insane. Insane. Anyway, if nothing else, the tour brings a little bit of positivity. In fact, it's also interesting. The tour, kind of like soccer, football, international sports. I think one of the things I do like about sports, I'm not a big sports guy. Pogacar, all on dope. No, it's all about food, dude. Have you heard about this stuff? The food is like the new doping. It's crazy. He's got no parallel. There's nobody who can keep up with him. Nobody. And I genuinely hope, Ken, I genuinely hope there is no doping. I don't think it is. I think it's all food based. At least I hope. They flew up on too. I call bullshit. You call bullshit? I don't know. Sprinting up a massive mountain. Yeah, it's beyond insane. But anyway, I just I guess I like international sports because I think they bring a certain sense of camaraderie, both internal patriotism, which is good, but also a love of a sport that brings other countries together. That's why the Olympics are so cool. That's why I love cycling so much. And in many ways, it's one of the reasons why I kind of like watching, like, international soccer games. Food based. It is. Dude, have you seen how these guys like calculate their caloric intakes? It is insane. Who needs blood doping? Food is into doping. Stop. Oh, I don't know, Ken. I don't know. Maybe I'm wrong. I was wrong about the Lance Armstrong thing. Motherfucker that he was. And they're giving him a show on cycling. Eight and 7, C8, C7. We're actually coming along. Look, guys, I got parts put together. Let's see. I got parts put together. Hear me out, tricycles. Well, the older you get, I guess that kind of makes sense, right? What time is it? All right, I got 2 more minutes. I'm going to fly here, guys. Just going to put together a couple more parts, C8 and 7, and then we're going to call it a session. And I'll be back next week. Well, I don't know. Hopefully things will have mellowed out a little bit. But 1, 2, 3, 4 contact points. That's kind of wild. That's it. That's the white bitch. That's it. Maybe for the downhill. Maybe. So guys, while I'm just gonna wrap it up real quickly here. Look, I hope that at some point we return to a sense of mellow out. Exactly. I hope we return to a sense of, thinking, look, it's better to do right than to do good than to be right. That I would rather be, I'd rather do, even if it's not beneficial to me, it's beneficial to others, to everyone, even if I don't agree with it. I hope that we can get back to that kind of thinking again, and just set aside all of these power grabs that are creating favor kindness. Exactly. Just, even if you don't agree, look, politically, we're not all going to agree on stuff. That's fine. But even in that disagreement, we can still say, you know what? I'm not going to beat the shit out of you because I don't agree with you. I really hope we get back to that time. And I'm not confident right now, but I'm hoping. Not confident, but I'm hoping. So anyway, with that, guys, Nick, for you, I'm sanding a little bit more. I'm going to go out sanding, okay? Guys, stay safe and stay sane out there. Go out there and continue to do good. Brighten the world as much as you can. I'm fortunate. That the people I've surrounded myself with, everybody here they're good people, and I hope that we can continue to be good and go out there and do good and help out wherever we possibly can. Right? Later, fellas. Later, Nick. Have a good one, brother. We'll see you tomorrow morning. Good night, Ken. Good night, Dwayne. Hopefully, we'll move away from people's viewing being. Yeah, people's views being that I agree. I agree that we get back to doing good, but go out there and brighten the world. Put a smile on somebody's face. Make somebody laugh. Just do right by them. Right? Anyway, love you all. Toll free. Not for me. Go out there and do good, guys. Enjoy the day, the evening. I'll be back on tomorrow morning, not talking about politics, and I will see you guys later. Love you and peace.